to Gemma's podcast on everything to do with women's health and wellness. And today I wanted to treat you all to my story about how I got into breathwork. And so I'm gonna dive deep into myself. So I have been a breathwork facilitator for 3 years now. I have done over 1,000 hours of training. I am a trauma-informed and ethical practitioner on the Global Professional Breathwork Alliance. So it's fair to say that I have done my research, I have done my time, and I have done my studies. But a lot of people ask me how I got into it. In fact, a lot of people will go, what is it? And it sounds a bit woo-woo. Well, we're going to come to that in a little bit. So I would think that my first experience of breathwork was probably when I was pregnant with my first daughter, who is now 7. So it was a while ago. I had an amazing pregnancy yoga teacher. It was a class and we did quite a lot of breathwork. She actually taught me the horse breath, which is an amazing breath that you can use. I don't think I can do it in the microphone actually. Otherwise I would, but I think it might make an awful sound when you hear it back. So my first dabbling with breathwork was when I was pregnant, and I used breathwork quite a lot in my labour. I had a vaginal labour. It lasted 5 days, and believe me, I needed my breath. But it wasn't really until about 3 years ago when I was really struggling with some health anxiety. I had recently found a lump in my breast and I just panicked. I thought, oh my God, all the things that any woman will know when she's found an anomaly in her breast, all of those things. So I got on the phone and I booked an appointment with my GP, but before my appointment, I was just living in this state of anxiety of what was going to happen. And actually, I think it was my sister. So I have my sister to thank for this. Asked me if I tried some box breathing. Box breathing, for anyone who doesn't know, is you can visualize a box. It really helps to visualize a box. It involves a 4-second inhale, a 4-second hold, a 4-second exhale, and a 4-second hold. And she talked me through a few rounds of this. And instantly I felt more grounded and I felt better. I was still worried about the GP appointment and I was still worried about the lump in my breast, but I felt okay. I felt like I had some control back over my emotional state. Anyway, luckily I went and I had a scan. Everything was absolutely fine. But I felt like I had to go on this mission to go and find out about breathwork. So I started Googling. I signed up for a course, a year-long course, and paid a huge amount of money to join that course. But I was really following my heart and I was really following my gut on it because I just felt that it had had such a profound effect on me. I really wanted to learn the power of the breath. I was a women's wellness coach then as well, but I was only really focusing on the fitness element and the nutrition element. So I felt like this would be almost like another string to my bow as well. And then I went on this journey and I studied it for a year. And honestly, it just felt like the pieces of the puzzle were clicking. I was a woman who had always put a lot of emphasis in wanting to be fitter, wanting to be stronger, trying really hard through that. I was eating as well as I could, but I was also finding that I was burning out. And breathwork was the thing that was the missing key, was this missing piece that I needed. So that was my entry into breathwork. I did a year training in breathwork. And then when I came out of that, I still wasn't done yet. I wanted to learn more. I particularly wanted to focus on conscious connected breathwork, which is a deeper, more transformational type of breathwork. And I really wanted to know everything that I needed to know so that I could hold safe spaces for people. Safety is incredibly important to me. And I know that it's important to my clients as well. So then I started another year-long course. And honestly, it was the best decision I ever made. I've made friends for life. And I've learned so much more, so many different strategies, but it was also a bit of a self-development course as well. So no part of it was easy. And that has really been my journey into breathwork. And I find myself more and more, sometimes I see wellness clients, they'll come in and we'll do some fitness training together. And sometimes we'll actually do breathwork before we actually even get into the nitty gritty of doing the strength training and things, because everybody is busy and everyone comes from different, some of my clients will come straight from work, or some of them will come from the school run, and their nervous systems are already wired. So doing a little bit of breath work can help us to tune into our why. Why are we here? We're not just here because we've signed up for this PT session. We are here because we want to feel better in our body, and we need a way to get into our body, out of our head, into our body. And breath work has been just the most helpful tool for me in that. I have had a lot of flack from people, let's be honest, mostly close friends and family, as to whether breathwork is just a bit woo-woo. I don't know if you guys have heard that word before. Like, they're like, are you a bit woo-woo? Have you gone a little bit hippie? The thing is, I get it. And honestly, I think that reaction kind of makes sense to me. Breathwork has been wrapped up in a lot of language and imagery that can feel sometimes a bit mystical. It can spark curiosity. It can be a bit abstract for some people as well. And I get it, it's not everybody's cup of tea, and that's absolutely fine. It's definitely mine, but it doesn't have to be yours. But at its core, breathwork really isn't woo-woo at all. It's nervous system regulation is what it is about. It's about how we breathe under stress, how our bodies respond to pressure, and how we can use our breath to support regulation and resilience as well. It's not really about believing in anything. It's about physiology. And as somebody who has made a career out of being a women's wellness expert, the science is really important to me, and the physiology is really important to me. And this is why I've invested so much in courses, because I wanted to understand the science before I delivered it. I wanted to know. I am kind of one of those people. I need to know. We all breathe, and how we breathe affects how we feel. It affects how we sleep. It affects how we cope. It affects how we show up in our relationships as when we parent. And what I'm trying to focus on is making breathwork accessible. And breathing is the most accessible thing. Like, everybody can do it. But making breath work and the practice and the understanding of breath work accessible, making it grounded, making it practical, not necessarily the chanting, not necessarily the performing, not necessarily having to wear certain clothes in order to fit in. None of that. It's not trying to have a certain experience. It's just trying to understand your body a little better and learn how to support it. Learning how to listen to the body, I think, is the key thing here. And if someone does think that that's woo-woo, that's okay. There's probably a time a few years ago when I would have thought it was a little bit woo as well. And I'm really not here to try and convince anybody. I'm only here for the people who want something steady, and they want something real and something usable that they can use in everyday life, that is going to make them feel stronger and more resilient and more able to cope with daily life. So thank you very much for listening to this episode of Gemma's podcast, everything to do with women's health and wellness. If you enjoyed listening to me and you would like to follow along, you can follow me on Instagram at Gemma Kelly Wellness. And if you would like to join any of our events, just head to our website, justbreathebreathwork.com, where you can find them.